Welcome to Google AdWords exam. Now, today we'll talk about Google Display Marketing and Advertising Exam 2017 questions and answers given by me. You can follow me on my blog and LinkedIn. Let's begin. The display advertising exam consists of 100 questions and 120 minutes are given, which builds keyword lists that can be used to show your ads on relevant web pages across the display networks. Display Planner, which targeting method allows an advertiser to reach people who have previously visited their website by showing them relevant ads when they visit other replacements on display network. Remarketing is an answer. Jackie is an advertiser who wants to reach people by using both remarketing and shopping ads. What's the best targeting strategy for her? Create a separate remarketing and shopping campaigns. An advertiser purchasing a display advertising through other ad networks can still benefit from using AdWords display ads because she can fill in the gaps of niche and mass marketed sites using Google targeting options, which allows advertisers to see which sites referred visitors with the most time spent on the site. Google Analytics will give this data. If a display ad has been disapproved, how do you submit a request for another review? You edit your ad so it complies with Google policy and resave it. An advertiser who sells coffee beans adds a keyword Java to an ad group. After 2 weeks, she runs a placement performance report and notice that the ad is showing up on the websites about JavaScript programming. What should she do to avoid appearing on these irrelevant sites? In the given options, exclude Java programming as a topic. In general, you can add JavaScript as programming as a negative phrase. To raise awareness of what you are advertising without limiting who might see your ads, you should add multiple targeting methods and use the bits only settings. Your client has a Mexican restaurant and want to increase brand awareness in local community. What type of ad would you create to help reach your client's goal? An interactive lightbox display ads on display networks that's focused on the restaurant's most popular menu. An advertiser would benefit from using affinite audience targeting if they want to reach people who already visited their website. Your client Alex, who sells wedding accessories, is running a text ad on display network. What might Google automatically include in her ads? The map showing her business. Dynamic remarketing lets an advertiser show prior visitor to his site ads that are based on products or services they saw on the site. This is an awesome feature for mm, the people who want to follow their visitors. Which bidding option is best suited for an advertiser focused on branding goals? Viewable cost per thousand impressions, VCPM. What's the needed to create a display network campaign to start promoting an app in other apps or on mobile sites? The app package name Android or app ID iOS of a promoted app. Which report is helpful when using site and category exclusion? The placement report is helpful. Which report should an advertiser runs to see which display network property displayed their ad and view associated statistics? Placement performance report. Managed placements allow advertisers to bid differently for specific placements on display network. Your client who sells sports shoes might choose to target a custom affinity audience. If you want to sell high-end running shoes to competitive marathon runners. An ad's quality score on the display network will affect whether the ad is eligible to enter the ad auction. Which bidding type is only available for ads on the display network? Viewable cost per thousand impressions, VCPM, is only the bidding option available. The dynamic remarketing tag collects the data such as type of pages the visitor visited. How does an extension works on the display network? It adds extra information like location or a phone number. For advertisers bidding on maximum CPC basis, quality score on display network is evaluated on click-through rate of the ad and relevancy of the ad text and keywords to the publisher sites. Which is the best type of campaign for an advertiser to use to target a set of specific mobile apps with ads for their websites? Display network ads in mobile apps. This is the campaign type. Cost per thousand impressions bidding is only available campaigns that target display network only. It's not available for search campaigns or any other network campaigns. Your client Ali has a car dealership. She wants to reach people who are actively researching electric cars are ready to buy one. Which type of targeting would you recommend? In-market audience. So in my future videos I'll talk more about in-marketing audience, how I'll give the brief. You are setting up a dynamic remarketing campaign for your client who sells an educational products. What best practice should you follow? Use education business type. What's best practice for building ads with ad gallery? Add a visible display URL while building ads using ad gallery option in Google AdWords. which would contribute to a higher quality score for display ad. Fast landing page loading time contributes a higher quality score for display ad. You might choose to use a preferred layouts for a dynamic display ads if your client wants to choose the layouts and features. Where can you place a client's image and video ads? On the display network only. When competing for the same ad unit, if the ad rank of the cost per thousand impressions placement target ad is higher than the combined ad rank of all competing keyword target ads, then the placement targeted ad will be the only ad to appear in the ad unit because it has the higher ad rank. A custom lightbox ad must have a format hosted in DoubleClick Studio. Your client Kevin works for a retailer that sells eco-friendly products. He wants to attract an audience with an established interest in his message. What type of targeting would you recommend? A green living enthusiast affinite audience. When planning a campaign, first thing an advertiser thinks about should be advertiser's goal. An advertiser creates a display ad with the ad gallery. It doesn't show properly in all sizes the advertiser want to use. What should an advertiser to do? Ensure that it shows in all sizes without limiting exposure. Create a new display ads that will work well with the ad sizes that aren't working properly. Are you likely to be most contextual? Ads are likely to be the most contextual relevant to the sites on which they appear when they're using a topic targeting. Which practice would violate Google's editorial and professional requirements, showing a value track tag in the text? If your client runs a car dealership and wants to increase the brand awareness among the auto enthusiasts, which bidding type would you suggest? Viewable cost per thousand impression, VCPM. Health clients want to drive sales of her new cookbook that's about gluten free desserts. If Heather sets up a display network campaign that targets potential customers using keywords and topics and the target and bid settings, her client ads can show when the keywords and topics matches. When creating a display ad, Ad Gallery lets you automatically create a display ad from the existing ad text. An advertiser using a viewable cost per thousand impression bids wants to maximum exposure on specific set of sites selected for a new campaign. Which is the best practice when setting up a campaign? Set bids on individual placements. Which feature applies to the display network but not to the search network? Frequency capping. Which best practice is advisable when optimizing ad groups within a placement's targeted display campaign? For each ad group, target groups of placements with a similar theme. Why is it recommended to separate display network campaign from search network campaign? Different campaign settings may be more effective on different networks. What is a benefit of using a lightbox ad? You can use any display network targeting method. An advertiser noticed that a display campaign is receiving a large number of conversions at a certain time and days of the week. Which feature would help this advertiser maximize the number of conversions received at that campaign's current budget? Ad scheduling is the best option. When an advertiser using a viewable cost per thousand impressions bidding clicks on his own display ad, quality score is not affected because click-through rate is not a factor with VCPM bidding. Targeting by topic is a good strategy if your client wants to control where his ads appears on display network. A direct response advertiser is primarily interested in generating conversions from the display campaign. To get a potentially a better return on investment, this advertiser should use target cost per acquisition bidding (CPA) bidding. In order to use remarketing with Google Analytics, you need to have your Google Analytics and AdWords account linked. What's something you can do in an ad gallery to enhance dynamic display ads? Customize your logo and color. How long should advertiser wait after creating a new display campaign before analyzing its performance? Generally it is 2 to 3 weeks. Ad Gallery allows advertisers to use templates to create display ads at the scale. View-through conversions are only available to the advertisers that have implemented a conversion tracking. Which feature could help advertisers determine if the clicks they are receiving on the display network are valuable? Conversion tracking. How can we analyze or how can we determine which one? Display planner only gives suggestions about the product on keywords and the placements. Keywords are diagnostic tool will diagnose whether the ad is appearing or not. IP inclusion exclusion settings, it will avoid certain IPs, or we can exclude certain IPs from the reports or showing up ads. But that will these are the process. But what is the end goal? End goal is getting a sale or a lead or conversion. So conversion tracking system is only will give us an information whether we have received the conversion or a lead. If you are using a remarketing to reach people who have used your mobile app, they see your ad while using other mobile apps on the same mobile or a tablet device. When optimizing for the display network, a clear call to action (CTA) in the ad text is important in order to set expectations for customers who are in various stages of the buying cycle. Remarketing is targeting ads to people who have already visited your website as they browse the websites and use apps on the display network, which automatically expand your reach based on your campaign's conversion history to help get as many conversions as possible. Aggressive targeting. You have a friend who has a small business and she wants to manage her own AdWords campaign. She has no experience with AdWords and would like to experiment with the different options. Which campaign type would you recommend to start? Search network with display select. Which of these metrics is typically most important in measuring a direct response advertiser's performance on the display network? Of course, conversions. Conversions is the end goal. Clicks, impressions, click-through rates are the KPIs, key performance indicators to reach the sales or leads or conversions. Why is it beneficial to include a text ad in the same ad group as an image ad when advertising on the display network? It ensures maximum coverage because some publishers do not accept all ad formats. Your client, Anna, wants to increase the reach and visibility of her ads. Which bidding strategy would you recommend? Viewable cost per thousand impressions. Viewable cost per thousand impressions lets you pay only for the impressions that become viewable. Which bidding option is best suited for an advertiser focused on the direct response marketing goals? Viewable cost per thousand impressions. When using cost per acquisition bidding, an advertiser bids using on maximum CPA and pays by sorry it's not pays by conversions, it should be pays by clicks. Whenever there is a click, then only he has to pay, no matter whether he has selected CPA bidding or CPC bidding. Google charges for clicks. An advertiser selling airline tickets has designed an image ad with a drop-down menus of the airport departure and arrival location. Rather than programming the menu to show airports, advertiser wants a click on the ad to go to his website. This ad will be disapproved because it is mimic the function the ad can't perform. On the display network, enhanced cost per click automatically adjust your manual bids up and down based on each click likelihood to result in a conversion. Your client wants to reach customers who are browsing the content relevant to the company's keywords, high likely to buy their products. You recommend using a search network with display select because display option uses keywords to target web pages with a relevant content and uses predictive model to determine which pages are most likely to result in conversions. Your client has a cupcake shop in hard to find alley in San Francisco. She's advertising on the display network. What's the best way to help people find her? Add location extension to her ad. In order to use a targeting cost per acquisition bidding, an advertiser must have a certain number of conversions in the previous 30 days. Yes. Ad may not appear an ad may not appear correctly on the mobile phones if it uses a flash or contains a large images. Frequency capping gives an advertiser the ability to specify a limit to the number of impressions for a unique viewer, which is the method for evaluating the performance of an engagement ads created with the ad gallery. Mouse over rate is evaluating performance indicator. An advertiser who had a success with text ads on the display network wants to start using rich media ads. Why should She considered using Ad Gallery compared with other tools. Ad Gallery lets advertisers easily create and change ad text. Which ad format easiest to create, edit, and has the widest reach on the display network? Text ads. If an advertiser choose to run ads in image formats, Google will display these ads on the display network. For an advertiser focused on branding, what are the key success metrics? Reach and frequency is the key performance indicators for branding. Which tool works best to help the advertisers automatically find and bid on relevant placements? Targeting optimization. If a display ad appears above the fold, this means that it can be viewed in the upper section of the page without scrolling. Which practice would be acceptable under Google's editorial and technical requirements? Promoting documented copyright content. Your client wants to place image and videos on the wider variety of websites, so people will see them while browsing those sites. Which type of AdWords campaign would be the best for that? Display network only. For an ad entering an auction on the display network, AdWords system will calculate the effective cost per thousand impressions eCPM when they are any cost per click or cost per acquisition ads entering the auction. Frequency capping limits the number of times your ad appears to the same person on the display network. Advertiser using display network can use the reporting table in the placement section of the display tab to determine sites on which people have seen their ads. A ready lightbox ad can contain a video and images. If you are considering a display network campaign and wants to estimate the reach of a different targeting options, you should use display planner. This will give you suggestions about different or targeting options. True or false? An advertiser can target mobile apps via Google AdWords. True, we can target. What can you do by creating a separate campaign that's targeted only to the display network? Allocate a budget and control the spend more effectively across campaigns. When reviewing her display campaign, Gina sees that her click-through rate is higher on weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., which feature could help her to more efficient with her advertising during this time. Of course, with adjustments. What's the best practice for creating an effective ad with Ad Gallery? Use a color schema that complement your image and brand. If you have a brand guidelines, follow the same set of rules or guidelines while creating a ad. An advertiser who has a conversion tracking enabled want to optimize a campaign that contains a display ads. In order to identify the websites that are generating sales, he should review the conversion column of the placement tab reporting table. In-market audience targeting consists of people who are currently researching options and actively considering buying a product or service likely yours. Which functionality applies to an HTML ads? Which functionality applies to an HTML5 ads? They are easy to update and do not require plugins. An advertiser promoting the release of a film that's entirely in French with no subtitles want to advertise on YouTube. Here's an advertising is heavily in France through a traditional ad campaign, but he wants to ensure that online ads reaches the most relevant YouTube audiences. Which should he do? Set a language targeting option for the campaign containing the ads for the film. Which is the benefit of using a display advertising with Google to build brand awareness? Expensive network of diverse sites. Your client Christina wants to drive traffic to her site. She has a return on investment goals and is already using Google AdWords conversion tracking. Which bidding strategy would you recommend? Target or return on ad spend? Return on ad spend. An advertiser who wants to target specific categories of the video content on display network should use video ads only. If you're looking for any sort of information uh, with regards to online marketing or any help for Google or Facebook Blueprint exams, please reach me via email. My email ID is dbaburajstar@gmail.com. You can also send messages using LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile is my username is Baburaj SEO. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our YouTube channel for more updates.